Thank you so much, Ty, for coming into the studio. I have always wanted to have you at the table. Typically, you're up on that stage playing away, so I'm so happy to finally have you here.
I'm moving up in the world. I'm down there and I'm right here. So.
Speaking of it, you're actually the music department head.
Yes,
and I
I am.
know that is completely different than interviews. How is your leadership style in that different than everyday life?
Well, I feel like when most people think of leadership, they think of like bossing people around, like do this, do that, like a
Yeah.
checklist, spreadsheets, like real corporate stuff. But like with a band, it's a lot different because with a band, it's a lot freer. You have a lot more opportunity to kind of get creative and think outside of the box and not really follow any rules because with music, you kind of make your own rules just because there's no like preset way to do anything. It's all kind of your interpretation.
Exactly. And to your point, like music is very authentic and it all like kind of comes off of like your like interpretation from the people you met and seen and everything like that. So who would you say is most inspirational in your music style?
I mean, my dad's a musician, so I kind of like really got into music with him. But like inspirationally, like with what I want to create, Frank Ocean.
Okay.
Frank Ocean's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've been listening to him all day. Or his. Do you know McGee?
Mm-mm.
He's not super popular, but he's not very underground. He's kind of more like I guess niche.
Rising up.
Yeah, rising up. He's up and coming, but he's really good. He makes like really like creative kind of indie pop, indie rock.
Would you say that's what you're into?
Yeah.
Oh, I love me some calm indie. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
So yeah, and then speaking of your dad, actually, you told me the other day that you lived in Vegas for what, 9 years?
Oh yeah,
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, and your dad had a gig up there. So how is life in the fast lane?
Well, I was pretty young. I moved out there when I was like 6 months.
Oh, okay.
So I was like really young. I don't
baby out there.
Yeah.
Out there living his life up.
At the casinos, 1-year-old, at the slot machines, yeah, racking up.
Practicing young.
It's never too young to start gambling.
Never.
But
Don't try that home.
But I mean, it was nice. Like I had a lot of good friends in my neighborhood I lived in. We were hiking all the time. There was good restaurants. Like this like really good Mexican place we would go to for breakfast burritos, and it was prime life. And like a lot of my childhood like memories with my brother were built there.
Yeah.
But my dad's gig was this thing called Vegas the Show, which is basically like he'd be playing 2 shows a night, 7 days a week. And he did that for a few years.
Goodness gracious.
But it was making like decent money, but he would just like play songs like Elvis songs, like really classic, like super famous songs from like the 1900s. And it was just like a huge like on stage show, kind of showcasing like the culture of Vegas. And he did that all the time.
So is he like predominantly like a cover artist?
He's a drummer. So he just like, yeah, he learned the drums. Yeah. And like he taught me drums and he played drums. Do you know Wayne Brady? He was on this show called Whose Line Is It Anyways, but he was his drummer for a few years, and I don't think a decade, but it was like a good few years, and he like toured the world. He got to like play. I think he played in the same room as Michael Jackson.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he has some crazy dad lore. One of my
get your dad in. We're gonna skip.
Honestly, I'd love to have my dad come in for an interview. That'd be cool, but. My favorite story he told me is how he preached the gospel to Prince.
Oh my gosh, actually?
Yeah.
That's great.
He like ran into Prince in the lobby and they just started talking and they just eventually just started talking about the gospel, which is crazy.
Yeah, I'm dropped. Sorry. Wow. No, I know. Like
his lore is insane. He has the craziest dad lore. I hope to have that one day.
Yeah, is he a good singer?
He's a pretty good singer. He's like very multi-instrumental. He can play piano, singing, guitar, bass, drums. Like he's a whole band.
So I'm guessing he got you up from like an early age.
Yeah, like my mom's also a singer. She plays piano. So my brother plays bass. I'm in a band. Like my family's a band, pretty much. So
the Fancher family. No, literally. And then also speaking about, preaching the gospel to Prince, you mentioned going to a mission trip to Oregon.
Yeah, that was so awesome. So I go to Oak Mountain Presbyterian Church. My youth group went to Warm Springs, Oregon, which is like this struggling Native American reserve. It's like an hour from, what's the capital city of Oregon?
That's a great question.
It was
about to say Nevada.
it's like the big city in Oregon.
Geometry failed me.
Yeah.
Mr. Civils, I'm sorry.
Geometry? I think you mean geography. You said geometry. I don't think that correlates.
Geography.
Me too. So,
But anyways,
point right now.
yeah, it's like an hour north from like the main city of like Oregon, I guess. Oregon City. I'm just gonna call it Oregon City.
Oregon City.
But we did a lot of community service work. My group did a lot of painting. We painted this like townhouse building. We painted a few benches, some tables for like community centers and all that kind of stuff. And then we would do that in like the morning hours. We would go to lunch and then we'd come back. It was like 8 a.m. to 2. And then from like 3 to 5, we went to the kids club, so we just got to like hang out and play with all like the kids in the community. It was so sweet. I've met a couple of really sweet kids. One girl like tied a little like bracelet around my wrist, and I wore it for like a good few months.
That's so sweet.
I took it off. I still have it in a little Ziploc bag, but I was like, I want to see how long I can do this
how
for.
long you can keep it on, because that's so sentimental. And then speaking about like going to like a poverty-ridden like area as well, how did that kind of change your perspective on the life you live now?
It made me like value what I have, because like walking into that community was like traveling back a couple years. Like they just kind of felt like they were a little bit behind everyone else. Like a lot of their buildings are very old, very dated, definitely like pre like 80s. Some of these buildings like very old, not like the most like high quality stuff.
Yeah.
And I can tell they're still like not super connected with the world around them. Like it kind of felt like a whole different part of the country. Like it didn't even feel like it was part of the United States. Like it was just weird how like different the culture and the environment was there than it is here in Birmingham.
Yeah. And then too, like with connecting with these people, did you use music as one of those ways?
I wish. I really wanted to, but it was more just kind of spending time with the kids and offering our services. But I would have loved to do some kind of music thing for them.
Exactly. And then did that kind of translate again into your everyday life now, to where you're playing in a band and you're grateful for the instruments you have?
Yeah. I'm very grateful for what I've been given, because like God's been blessing me a lot lately, like college scholarships, like job opportunities for my parents, like so much stuff has just been like perfectly lining up. Yeah. It's just cool how the Lord works.
Yeah, there's no other way. So that's perfect. Well, anyway, falling back to this program and obviously being the department head, what has this program done for you in your like music career?
It's definitely given me a lot of good practice, because like what I'm doing now in media is what I want to do in college. It's what I'm majoring in, like music production and commercial music, and that's what I want to do in life. Like I want to write music, produce it, record it, release it, tour it. Like I want to be a rock star.
Yeah, he's gonna be a rock star.
I'm gonna be a rock star one day.
Yeah, way to put it out there. Like honestly, and then knowing you want to be a rock star, how like has this changed your perspective on going through high school?
It's just cool. Like no one else is like really doing this. Like, I'm one of 7 people in a band.
Yeah.
And in a high school. It's like cool to think like not many schools in the country have this kind of program.
Yeah.
Like, no one really has the facilities to walk into a really good recording studio in high school, or a really good like stage to practice and play on instruments in a high school. That's just, you don't find that everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just really, really special that this place has that.
What would you give, what would be your piece of advice to those who are given much?
Like who are or aren't?
Who are given much. Like
just value
too much
it.
is given, too much is owed.
Yeah, value it. Because, I mean, nothing's going to last forever. And like just cherish something while you have it.
Yeah.
Because like, and like for me, like as a senior, like I'm thinking more like socially, like what I have socially, like this isn't going to carry over with me when I graduate.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to like eventually, like everyone I'm talking to here, I'm not really going to keep up with. And I'm going to find new friends in college. That's just how life works. You're going to be around a new environment and new people, and you're going to focus on them. And these people are kind of going to slowly drift away. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
So just value that. I'm a very sentimental guy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But just like value that, because it's not going to be around forever.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in and
of course.
talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's no longer
finally.
on the stage. He's joined interviews.
I've been wanting to be on an interview for a good time now.
All right, now you got to get your dad. And we
Yeah,
got to get you part 2. We got to.
I'd be down. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Let's do it. We're done.
Yes.
Yeah.